Welcome to the third part of this tutorial series. We're creating a beat 'em up game in Scratch, and in this video we're going to be adding an enemy into our game. So this is the first enemy we're adding, and it's going to be a baby zombie. So this baby zombie is going to be able to attack us and walk towards us whenever we're near it. So let's get started. So to begin this tutorial, we're going to have to create a brand new sprite. We're going to click upload sprite, and in the link in the description there's going to be a link for a baby zombie, and this is the zombie OGA. So you're going to go to the idle file and select all or just the first one, and we're going to rename this to baby zombie. Alright, and then we'll go to the costume, and then we're going to upload the rest of the sprites. So we're going to upload the other 10, and then now we have 1 to 10, which have baby zombie idle animations, and then we're going to input the walking animations, so from here to here, and then we're going to input the attack animation. And if you're wondering how I'm doing this fast, you just shift select and then shift select to the final one, and then the attack animation, and then we would input the hurt animation. So let's go here and select hurt and put that as well, and then the final one being the dead animation. So upload death or dead right here, and this is how our animation is going to be when it dies. So now those are all the sprites for our zombie. Now we just have to adjust its size because it's looking a bit too big. So let's make this 25 and go back to the first one, and we're going to place it around here and make the direction left to right. Okay, so now let's go to our code and start programming our zombie. So the first thing we're going to do is say when flag is clicked, hide. And we're going to be creating clones of our zombie. So next we're going to go to our player and bring in this position block, and we're going to define position. And basically I don't believe, yeah, we shouldn't need any of this, to be honest. We should just define position and then go to motion and say set X to, and then go to operators and then say X minus, and then cam X. So let's get an operator and say X minus cam X, and then we're going to set Y. So go to motion and we're going to set Y to -101. And the reason all these variables just appeared is because I brought in this this script that had the variables already. So just plugged all the variables into this sprite. So if the variables so if you open and close the app, then this animation state and other variables may disappear if you haven't started using them in your script. So next you should go to control and select an if else statement, and then we're going to go to operators and bring in an and operator, and then we need a less than and a greater than operator, and then we're going to say cam X, and then we say get the plus operator here and then minus operator here. So we're going to say minus, let's bring the cam X as well. And now what we're saying, if cam X is less than X, X plus 252, and then X minus 252. So this is what we're doing. So what this basically does is we're looking if we're inside the range of our camera, and if we are, then we would like to show our zombie, and then we say let's create a brand new variable, and we'll call this one for the sprite only, player detected. and we say if player detected. So let's go to events or control, and we'll say if player detected. So go to operators and select equals to, and then we want to look if player detected is equal to false. And then what we'll do here is look again if, and then just copy the script right here, and then instead change this to 200. So this basically looks if we're close enough to the player. And if we are close enough to the player, then we're going to set the player detected to true. So what we're doing here is we're creating a player sensor. We're seeing if our zombie is close enough to the player, and if that is the case, then we would want it to show. Or not show, but eventually we're going to have it chase our player. So we haven't. So next, let's just go to looks and hide it if we're not close enough to the player. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say when I start as clone is, and then we set player detected to false. And don't forget, something very important is when you're naming all these variables, make sure you have false with a capital, and or if you're going to keep it small letters, and make sure everything is small letters. All the variables data has to be the exact same and consistent throughout your script. So next we're going to say point in direction -90. So let's throw this back left, and then we want to set our rotation style to left and right. And then we're going to go to variables, and we're setting the X and Y position. So let's just set this, set X and Y, and then we're going to create a brand new variable for all sprites, and we're going to call this enemy X position. And basically what we're doing with this sprite is, or not sprite but variable, is that we're essentially creating X positions to spawn our sprites. So we're going to spawn them with the given X positions that we give them. So enemy X position, and we'll just set Y to 0. And then we're going to go to control and say forever, and then if actually, you don't need ifs, we can just have 3 conditions. We can have 3 conditions. So we say and. So we say if player detected equals to true, and our X position, so let's select the X position is greater than 57, and our animation is equal to walking. So what we're doing here is we're just making sure that whilst our enemy walks, we don't get too close to our player. So let's set animation state or actually we have a problem here. This animation state is supposed to be what is it, a player only. So let's delete this, and then what we're going to do is create a brand new variable for this sprite only. Let's first rename it animation state and make sure to say for this sprite only this time. So that was my bad, and then they just place this here. So here, and then right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more right here. So we set this to walking, this to left punch, this to right punch, and this to up punch. just to make sure that it's working. Let's walk, punch, punch, punch. So everything is fine. Oh, okay, then this shouldn't be 0, but this should be idle. Okay, now if we stand still, idle. Okay, perfect. Now let's go back to our baby zombie, and we'll notice now we have a baby zombie animation state. That's exactly what we want. So now we'll say and equals to, so let's just say equals to animation state walking. So then we're going to go to variables and change x by, and then we're going to create a brand new variable for this sprite only called speed. And then we're going to say speed multiplied by -1, because we want our what is it, our zombie to go in the left direction. So just negate it, and then we're going to wait 0.05 seconds, and then we click my blocks and position and put that right under here. So next, now that we have our position, or when flag is clicked hide, we now need to say when I start as clone, we want to hide, not hide actually, but let's make a brand new block, and we're gonna call this animation states, and then just click OK, and then set this here, and then go to variables and set animation state to idle. So now we have a block of code to create for our animation states. So let's define animation states. It should, nope, it's not here. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so let's define animation states. So first we're going to set animation state to idle, and then create a forever loop. Actually, no, we don't need a forever loop since it's gonna be called forever under here. No, it's not. Okay, then it's fine. Let's put it here. So we're going to do about the same thing. So let's duplicate this if statement and put it right here, and then remove the position and say if play detector equals true, if, and then we need to say instead of greater than, we want to look if it's less than 58. So basically here we're looking if we're far enough to walk towards our player, and then we say if animation, we'll say if player animation is not equal to hurt. Okay, now what we need to do is just get rid of this and bring in an if else statement. So looking if player detected equals to true, and then we'll look if we're close enough to attack it, and then we look if our player is not, or not player, but our enemy is not hurt. So now that we have all the code in place, let's start putting in the what we do in this condition. So if we're not hurt, then we're going to set our animation state to attack. So this is basically if we're close enough to our player to attack them, and right here we're walking because we're further, we're far from our player, but here we're close enough to attack. So we'll say attack, and whenever an entity is attacking in our game, we want it to go to the front layer. So let's select go to front layer, and then we're going to create an if statement, put it right here, and then we say if, and then or, and then greater than, less than, and then looks, and then select costume number. Then we're going to say 28 or 21, and then we're going to switch the costume to the first attack animation. So basically we're saying if we're outside our attack animation, then we want to go to our first attack animation. And then what we're going to do here is simply go to control and repeat outside the if statement. We repeat 8 times, and then we go to if, and then we go to operators and say not equal to actually we just take this. If we're not hurt, so we want to look if we're getting hurt, if our player attacks the zombie while it's attacking, then it's going to go into the hurt animation and cancel the attack. So that's why we're having this not hurt. So we don't want the zombie to be able to do anything while it's hurt. If it's hurt, we need it to, you know, focus on being hurt and nothing else. So then we're going to say wait 0.05 seconds, and then we're going to say plus operator, and then we say costumes, and then we switch costumes to costume number +1. That's perfect. And then we're going to wait again right under this if statement, and then get rid of the switch costume, and then we just want to actually no, we need to wait under the repeat, and then we just wait 0.5 seconds so that we're not constantly attacking at a super fast rate. So let's say we're not let's say we're not close enough to our player, and if that's the case, we need to set our animation state to walking. So we're going to set animation state to walking instead, and when we're walking, we need to wait 0.05 seconds, and then we look if we're not hurt. Actually no, let's do this. Let's say wait 0.05 seconds, and then let's take the code let's take the code from here and then just alter it a bit. We say if not animation equals to hurt, and then we take this away and put this here. So then we say if costume number is not inside 20, or if it's inside 20 or 11, if it's outside 20 or 11, then we want to go to our first walking state, and then instead of, and then we say let's bring in an if else statement, and then we say if costume number is less than 20, then we want to go back to our original walk, else we say costume number +1. Now we can get rid of this, and we'll put this code right here after the wait 0.05 seconds. So basically, if we're not doing anything, we can just do this walk walk cycle. So after that, if we're not close, or if we're just detected by the player, then we can just run our idle animation. So basically all we're doing here is we're going to set animation state to idle, and then if costume is, so then just bring this and then take this out. We just look if, we just need one if statement. So we say if costume is greater than, so let's go to operators and say greater than 10, then we switch our costume to zombie walk idle 00. So yeah, that's about it. Now once we're done with our animation state, we now need to set up stats for our zombie, because we're going to have more than one enemy, so we need them all to have their own individual stats. So let's place this code here, and then go to control and say when I start this clone. Now we're going to go to variable, and all of these should be for this right only. It it should be health and attack strength. So let's say set, and set. So we're going to set the attack strength, or no, let's set health first, attack strength, and then something we already created a while ago, which is speed. And then we're going to say 3, 1, and 4. Then we're going to go to looks, and we're going to switch the costume to zombie idle 000. So now what we're going to do here is just basically set up our idle animation. So we'll say forever if, and then just copy this animation state, and we say if animation state equals to idle, then we're going to practically take this and an if else statement, and then just take this away and put this here, take this away and put this here, and move along. So now we just need to put this in this forever or if statement, and there we go. So we got that code from the animation state. And now we have our idle animation, and now the final thing is just code what happens when our player, or not player but zombie, is attacking our player, and then what happens when our zombie attacks our player. But before we do that, let me show you how the zombies work. Let's see how our code looks so far, or our game looks so far. So let's just disable these variables, and we're going to create a brand new sprite. Just say paint a sprite, and then we're going to call this game manager, and then we'll say when I receive level 1, yeah, so level 1 is fine, what they already have, and then we're going to set enemy X position to -110, and then create a clone of baby zombie. So let me explain what's happening here. So the X position is -110, and as you remember, I'll show you cam X. If we had set the position to -467, it will spawn right here. So we're basically just setting up positions for our zombie to spawn. Now our zombie sees it's close enough and it's walking towards us. It seems like the walking animation is not working correctly. So what we can go in and do is just see where we went wrong. So we say set animation to walking, wait 0.05 seconds. If not hurt, then we look, and then switch costume to costume number. So if costume number is less than 20, or yes, less than 20, so I believe it should be greater than 20. So now let's try this again. Yep, now it's walking to us properly. Yep, and that's perfect. So now we can go back to our what is it? Now we have a what can we put this as an enemy that we can see, and we see that it's working. We see that it's walking towards us, and we can set its position to anything. We can set it to -200 and play, and we can see that it's immediately going towards us because it's too close. So now let's go and code in the attack and the of our zombie, and then what happens when it takes damage. So we'll say when I start as clone, and then forever, then we'll bring in a if statement, and then we'll say if touching So let's bring in an AND operator. So we want to see if we're touching oh my goodness, if we're touching the player, and let's just copy this. Okay, let's go to our player. We're first going to add a brand new variable, and we're going to call this for all sprites attack underscore active. Then we're going to say when flag is clicked, we can just bring this here, and we can say forever, and then we bring in an if else statement. So if else, and then put here an if statement. So basically we're going to see if an attack is active. So we're going to set attack active to true, and then we're going to set up some attack active. So there are going to be a few sprites that we're going to use for our attack active. So we're going to look in our punches. We want to look at where our punch is having the most power. So for our left punch is going to be costume 24. So let's take note of that. And then for our right punch, it's going to be costume 30. And then for our up punch, let's look where it's having the most power. It seems to be 37. So 24, 30, and 37 are the costumes where the attack is going to be active, because that's when it has the most strength or power. So we're going to say operators, and we're going to bring in two OR operators, and then we're going to bring in the equal to operators, and then we're going to say 24, just so we don't forget, 30 and 37, and then go to looks and select the costume number, costume number, costume number. Remove the dizziness, and we're going to add that in later. So then we say if not, then we can set attack active to false. Now let's go to our zombie sprite. Oops, we spelled. Okay, so now let's redo this. So now let's change the health by 1. So then we're going to broadcast a message, and we'll call this hit enemy. And then we say broadcast hit enemy. We'll set animation state to hurt, and then we're going to switch the costume to hurt. So just select the first hurt, and then we say if, and then bring in the equal operator, and we say if hurt or not hurt but health equals to 0, then we just stop the other scripts in the sprite. So now we need to change this to attack active, and we want to see if attack active is true. That was just a mix up of me, and then go to the player, and then after that we're going to duplicate this, move this here, and then duplicate the flag, because our animation state is in a forever loop, so it will never. Oh, so I have to put the go to frontier as well. Okay, cool. So now if we attack our zombie, we'll see that we have the attack active equals to true. Perfect. So now let's just hide this and go back to our baby zombie. if our health equals to 0, we want to switch our costume to dead. We want our little zombie to die. You feel me? So after that, we'll repeat 7 times, and then we switch costume, and we say operators +1. Then we say costume number. So we say costume number +1, and basically we want our thing to look like it's dying. So what you can do is use an effect here, and we can just use the change to ghost, and then just change it by 14.2, because I believe 7 divided by 100 is 14.2 something around those lines. And then we wait 0.05 seconds, and then we simply delete this clone. So if health isn't 0, all we need to do is make it hurt. So to do that, we need to duplicate this repeat and put it under the if health equals to 0, not the repeat. And then we'll say switch costume +1, and then remove this and just put in the weight 0.05. And then after that, we want to say change x. So variable change x, and then we just simply change it by 2. Let's change it by 2, not -2, because we want it to go right. And then we set animation state to idle, and then wait 0.5 seconds. So now if we attack it, we'll notice it will move back, and then it's basically a punching bag. So it doesn't die, because if we go to the health, okay, we set it to 3, so we're supposed to change the health by -1 so that it actually decreases. And then now let's do this: boom, 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 and boom, and boom, boom, boom. Okay, so it looks like it's still acting up, so I'd assume. Oh, so this if should be under the if health right here. Okay, so that's 1, and then bow. Okay, so now our thing is disappearing too quickly. So repeat 7, ghost, switch costume, weight 0.05, delete the clone. Okay, so this delete the clone should be right under the repeat 7. Alright, so that should be about it for the attacking of the zombie. Now the final thing is you just want to simply let's make a variable called damage, and for all sprites, and then we're going to say when I start as clone, as usual we say when I start as clone, went to forever, look if, and we look if touching player, and then we, instead of using attack, let's go to costume number, and if we're touching the player and our number, costume number, let's look for attack. It's right here. Okay, let's look for the peak of our attack. So 20 seems to be 24. So I'm going to say if and costume number equals to 24. Then we're going to broadcast player take damage. So new, and then we just call this player take damage, and then we're going to set damage to health or attack strength, and then just simply wait 0.5 seconds. So that's it for this video. What we've done is we've added so this doesn't work right now. This will make it doesn't attack our player or hurt our player in any way, because we haven't implemented the code for our player to get hurt. But what we've done is basically we can attack our enemy and it can attack us back. Okay, interesting. Okay, and then we can break it. So if you want to add more zombies, just while you're waiting for the next tutorial, you can just say 0.5 and then just duplicate this. So duplicate, 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 and then you just be changing the position. So this one might be negative 250, no, negative 100. It might be negative 90. This might be 0. Then change it to like 0.1, or actually 0.05, and then make the wait time consistent. So boom, boom, and boom. So now if you want to fight a bunch of zombies, just go bow, go crazy on these. Okay, and then it seems like they're going way too fast on idle. So what we can do is go to our baby zombie, and where we have our idle, we have to sit here, wait 0.05 seconds, or just set it here, right here. Okay, so now we'll notice they're a lot more smooth, but they have a little glitch. So I think maybe let's put this here, or actually let's put this here. Yeah, let's put it here. And then instead of 0.05, let's say 0.1. And instead of saying greater than 10, let's say if costume number equals to 10. Alright, I think that should be fine. Now let's look at our idle animation. Yeah, that's perfect. Now we can beat up these little zombies. So boom, they should step back. Bow. Bow, bow. Okay, cool. So now we can beat up the zombies. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the second video. We're going to be adding more enemies, more enemy variants. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Peace.